Hey guys, what's going on? It's time for another game of Twilight struggle against chasebt694, a fellow YouTuber and streamer who I've invited via Reddit again. I'm going to do the bid for sides. I think again we'll go with the traditional one for the USSR in the hope that we get +2 for the US, because I prefer playing as the US, I've decided. And that's exactly what's happened. Very nice. You too, my friend. Yeah, so a bit like the game I had with Illusion a couple of weeks ago, this game is also going to be streamed by both players. So Chase is going to record this as well and upload it, and you're going to be able to see it from his perspective as well. So if you get the chance as well, I'd thoroughly recommend having a look at Chase's channel. Lots of really good matches on there. So looking at our hand, it's not too bad. There are a couple of troublesome cards though. It looks like, unfortunately, we're going to have to space Decol, because we don't want to have to space either US, Japan or nuclear test ban, because we sort of need them, because apart from that we've only got sort of 1 and 2 op cards in Europe scoring. So I think for a headline, probably just headline Europe. I don't want to headline Japan, because then we've only got 1 4-op card with nuclear test ban, and Korean War we're probably going to have to play for the event and then try to move into South Korea. Decol we can't play. Blockade we'll have to hold as well. So not a great hand, but also not a bad one at the same time. So we don't know where socialist government is, so I quite like overprotecting Italy and then placing the other one into Iran. So yeah, there's a couple of arguments here. You could say play Japan, which then makes Korean War slightly less likely to be successful. But like I say, that's one of the only 2 big cards that we do have, and I don't really want to waste that on a headline. So I still quite like just playing Europe here. And of course we get red scared, so it's going to be tricky, this hand, because now it looks like we're going to have to either lose West Germany or play Decol, and I think I'd rather lose West Germany in all honesty. So he coups Iran, but he isn't very successful, luckily for us, which means that we can now take the 3 ops from nuclear test ban. We can take back Iran and then move into Afghanistan to, provide that sort of foothold into Western Asia. So yeah. So I suppose that's a little bit of respite, given that we do have quite a difficult hand to manage here. I suppose with Korean War, if he decides to take it, then we can just play it anyway. If not, we can still play it for the event, and then hopefully if we win the roll, he'll basically have to put the China card into South Korea to take it. Right, so that's caused some issues as well. So he takes Iran back. I think the coup is the best option here. Hopefully if we're successful, it will take away his access to Pakistan. But more importantly, it'll get us some military ops, because at the end of the turn, if we haven't couped and we don't have a war card in our hand that's in our favour, then we will lose 2 points. So he can just walk into Pakistan now. I mean, at the same time, it's not that devastating, because we would have had to waste all the 3 from Japan in Pakistan to ensure that he couldn't take it, basically. So I don't think it's a huge loss. I think we've sort of got to move out into the Middle East. We need presence, so I think we'll take Lebanon. But yeah, Asia's looking quite troublesome now. If he doesn't go into Korea, then we will play it, and hopefully if he fails, we'll place the one into South Korea. So he has, like I say, he has to waste the China card. But not a not a great start. Okay, it's not an awful lot we can do about that, unfortunately. So he does fail, luckily. So, you know, now begs the question, does he give up the China card, or does he, you know, play Middle East if that's what he's got? Yeah, so there's Middle East. So we can actually take South Korea, which is good news. The problem we've now got ourselves in is that we are going to lose West Germany. So, you know, traditionally here I'd want to put the one from blockade into Malaysia, but because we're going to lose West Germany, I'm actually going to put it into Benelux or Austria or France, you know, a country that borders West Germany, so we can threaten it again. I suppose, I mean, logically you would think to go into France, but the problem... Oh, nice. So we can actually space decol there. So wow, so containment saved us, thank God. But he has sort of made that push into West Germany, so he can now threaten France. But you know, that was a pretty bad opening round.
They spread and grow in the evil soil of poverty and strife. They reach their full growth when the hope of a people for a better life has died.
Okay, so again, not a great hand, you know, lots of low op cards. The good news, however, is that we do have defectors though, so you know, there's a couple of nasty things he could have. You know, he could have D-Style. I mean, I very much doubt he'd headline D-Style, but he, you know, he could have socialist governments, he could have Suez Crisis, things like that. So I quite like playing defectors here. Captain Nazi. Okay, so I think he, given that play, I think he was scared of defectors there, so he wisely picked a card that isn't too devastating. But the question here is, you know, does he go for France, or does he coup? You know, does he potentially surrender Iran for France? And if he does, then we're going to be in big trouble, because that means we'll be behind in all three early war regions. So we'll see what he does. He could also have duck and cover to control the DEFCON, which in a way will be nice because it means we get you know, 3 victory points, but at the same time it sort of gives him a convenient opportunity to control the DEFCON. So he's going to coup, and he goes for Panama, and he rolls a 5. So I think the play here really is to take France, you know. But I would argue at this stage that we have been at quite a bad op disadvantage. You know, getting red scared and almost losing West Germany in turn 1. It made a difficult but manageable hand into a pretty bad one, and if it hadn't been for that containment play at the end, then we would have been in serious trouble. So the good news is he played de Gaulle last turn, so we're not going to see that for a short while. So that's good. I think we'll play Romanian as soon as possible, maybe pop 1 into Malaysia. What's he got here? So there's CIA. So he's obviously worried about that. So I think with Formosan we'll repair West Germany, and then we'll make the push into Thailand. You know, because it's sort of crucial to get Thailand, because it's, you know, it's crucial to the balance in Asia. So, you know, the chances are that Japan will also fall to us, so we will then have Thailand, South Korea, Japan. The thing I am worried about is that we can only place 2 ops into there, which means that he will be able to flip it with the China card, unfortunately. But again, you know, with these ops, we don't really have many options, and I think that France was more important because, you know, Middle East has fallen to him. Asia now looks like it's probably going to fall to him. You know, we need... you know, we need one region to favour us, basically. Now, I don't want to play Arab-Israeli, but, you know, I can't play Vietnam at this point, and all the other cards are one-up cards, so we'll bite the bullet. And he does fail, fortunately. and we move into Thailand. So I suppose the good news there is if he decides to take it, then at least we get the China card back. So that's one piece of news, one piece of good news, excuse me. I think we'll space Vietnam. Obviously he goes for the space, and he succeeds. So, but again, the good news there is that we get to keep Thailand because now we've got the opportunity to overprotect it, and it does look like Asia's going to be even, so that's good. Yeah, I'm hoping for a slightly higher ops hand next turn. But I think considering that, you know, all that being said, we've done all right so far at containing him. You know, I mean, we've kept the balance in Asia. Europe's now in our favour, so that makes me think that he might have Asia scoring. In which case, do I play Vietnam? Well, I suppose, I mean, NASA's going to get played anyway, so I suppose it doesn't matter if I do play Vietnam and take Indonesia. You know, because, you know, we can't play blockade, so NASA's going to have to be played anyway, unfortunately. And we take away his Asian domination by placing one into Indonesia. And the reason why I picked that one is because, you know, if he gets decol, then that's just an easy one-up country that he can take. Whereas now he'll actually have to flip it. I've also moved back to the traditional card design. I don't know if you prefer that. So it moves into Libya, so the Middle East is looking pretty tricky at this stage. I quite like breaking Pakistan here, you know, because then we sort of force his hand. On the next turn, you know, we force him to think, you know, do I save Pakistan or do I coup? If he doesn't get duck and cover, that is.
So my country's purpose is to help us move out of the dark chamber of horrors into the light, to find a way by which the minds of men, the hopes of men, the souls of men everywhere can move forward toward peace and happiness and well-being.
Okay, so a couple of pieces of good news here. The first one is that we have both the cards that directly affect France, which is good. So we can sort of be safe in the knowledge that, you know, France is probably going to stay in our favour for now. We have decol as well, which we can space. We can use Suez Crisis on blockade and then play de Gaulle for no effect. I think really the question here is what's a headline? You know, you could argue duck and cover for the points, but I don't want to do that because then he'll be able to just take Pakistan back easily. So I think we'll maybe gamble a little bit, go for 5-year plan, give him some hand size problems, and that's nice as well. So the Cambridge 5 doesn't do anything, and wow, we pull a big 4 ops card out. So that's, you know, that's pretty devastating for him. And it's also good that his headline doesn't do anything, you know. So I think if I were him here, I would probably prioritise taking Pakistan because I don't think we've seen Asia scoring, or have we? No, we haven't, so he definitely has that. And, you know, there aren't really any good coup targets. I mean, you could argue maybe South Africa, you know, to try and, like, kick us off the continent, but, you know, we are in France, so we can just walk into France. So I think if I were him, I'd prioritise Pakistan. I suppose the bad news for him there is that we can then have a go at coupping, you know, Libya or Iran. So, you know, there's also a possibility that he does have the Indo-Pakistani war card. So he might think, you know, if I let him take it, there's a chance that I might be able to flip it back. But he goes for the influence, so we're going to get to coup. And he breaks South Korea, so he's denying us that coup opportunity, which is good play. But that also says to us, you know, the fact he's played Marshall Plan, it says, you know, he's giving up on Europe there. So, you know, we can't let South Korea fall. We've got to respond to that. And then if we take Malaysia, that also takes away his domination. So we'll see what he does there. So yeah, you know, Marshall Plan has allowed us to protect the battlegrounds, so we'll now get an extra op with de Gaulle, because we'll only need 2 to repair it. It also means that Willy Brandt in the mid-war won't be an issue for us, because we won't need to repair West Germany. And we've also now got 1 in each of the 3 Mediterranean countries, so you know the country count is going to fall to us there. The question now is, what is he going to do, you know? Is he going to make some push for a country in Asia, or is he just going to coup again to, you know, try and protect the Middle East ever so slightly? Because he does need to bear in mind that Egypt at some point will fall to us. So, you know, if he lets... Okay, so he's going for the coup. And he fails in South Africa, which is nice from our perspective. So, in that case, I think for the first time in the game, it's our turn to go on the offensive. I suppose one thing we do have to bear in mind is also have to bear in mind is the fact that he has D-style. So, you know, if we can start moving out now, you know, mop up some of these African countries before he can, and that sort of prevents his spread a little bit, you know. So it also looks like South America and probably Mexico as well might fall to him. He might try to jump ship into Zaire to take that. He has played Fidel, however, so I'm not too concerned about, you know, losing to a full-blown you know, Central America control, because, you know, we could always take Cuba if need be and then space Fidel. I'm going to go and throw 1 into Mexico for the simple fact that, you know, if he does have D-style and he does decide to play it, there's no chance for him to like instantly take it. You know, he'd have to place 2 in there and then hope that we didn't flip it again. And it also means that we can then put 1 into Guatemala and hopefully realign realign Mexico. So, you know, yeah, you know, head start in Africa, that's good news. We're ahead in Europe, it's yet to be scored. We stopped him from scoring domination in Asia. So, you know, so here's D-style, so what's he going to do with it? He might even go into Cuba, given that he played Fidel. Yeah, so he prioritises South America. So, a couple of things there to bear in mind. At least it means that for the time being, Central America will be in our favour. You know, he had to throw 1 into Nigeria because it was, you know, it was pretty obvious that we were making the sort of headway in Africa, and he needed to do something about that desperately. So yeah, go ahead and grab Mexico. Just try and give him too many coup targets for turn 4. So there's Captain Nazi Scientist. Speaking of which, I think we will space Decol as well. So it's good that he didn't get his hands on that, you know. That's helped protect Africa a little bit for us. And we get a point from it, which is nice. And then with de Gaulle, I think I'm going to obviously put 2 of them back into France to repair it, and then place the other 1 into Angola, just so we can't easily flip it with the, you know, the Portuguese Empire card. Or he might go ahead and... Oh, I was worried that he was going to do some crazy Asia play there. So yeah, so he goes ahead and throws more influence into like the northern tip of South America. And that does 2 things, you know, it protects Venezuela against the Panama Canal card, but more importantly, in my opinion, it also protects that section of South America from the Voice of America. You know, because if he only had 2 influence in each country and we draw the Voice of America, then we could just knock him out straight away, which would be really bad news for him. It would basically mean that he would have wasted D-style. Okay, so I'm liking this hand. You know, we've got colonial rearguards, which is good. We can sort of push our agenda in Africa. We've got Bear Trap, which I think I'm considering playing because it'll then mean that we get to steal the coup. Shay isn't an issue at this stage, We can use Sadat to flip Egypt. Special relationship we can get a couple of points for as well because NORAD's in effect. So, you know, I'm liking this hand. And we also know that he can't steal the coup from us because he has Quagmire. Sorry, because we have Quagmire. So I think I like Bear Trap here. Okay, so he takes the China card back, which is good on his part because he's, you know, he's potentially trying to cause some hand size issues for us. But we'll see what he gets rid of. He gets rid of NORAD. So we're not going to see that for a while. So I think before we move into any non-battlegrounds in the Shay regions, I think we'll just trigger it now, get it out of the way, so we can't do anything with it. And I quite like Brazil here. So hopefully we can get a big roll and get a foothold in South America. Nice! So yeah, that's the kind of big roll I'm talking about. So yeah, so Willy Brandt's not an issue. You know, West Germany's overprotected, so we can use the 2 ops from that. I think from a special relationship, I think I'll throw the 2 into France. So he's going to try for the realignment here, and he's also giving us Japan. Oh, he knocks us down 1. Oh no! So that was a waste of time. And he gives us Japan as well, so Asia's now, you know, fully balanced at this stage. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll basically just go on the offensive in Africa. You know, we've just played Shay, so we don't need to worry about Shay coming back to bite us because we've placed influence in Saharan states and Cameroon. It's also providing a counter to his, you know, South American control that he's probably going to get soon. So yeah, if we manage to take Nigeria from him, then we could even go for African control here, which is 11 points, I believe. I think we'll space Arab-Israeli because that gives him military ops. So you got another big 4 ops. So he'll overprotect Nigeria probably. Yeah. So I suppose with that we should try to realign him out because the odds are in our favour. Come on. Nice. And then I think the other obvious target is Chile. Come on. No. So yeah, we'll space Arab-Israeli. We'll definitely play special relationship for the event because, you know, if we do see South America scoring at some point, then, you know, that's going to cause some issues if we don't get some points soon. So yeah, I quite like France here, you know, because Italy is very overprotected, whereas a socialist government could cause some issues in France still. Yikes, so there's South America. So this could turn into a pretty quick game if we're not careful. I mean, an OPEC here could lose us the game. I think I'll go ahead and break Egypt. You know, so we can use Sadat. And then we'll take South Africa for African control. But, you know, I'm hoping and praying that there's nothing here that can give him enough points. Middle East scoring would also give him the game, but I'd assume that he probably would have played it quite quickly if he did have something along those lines. So, so he's cooing to get military ops. So there's the one from that. But, you know, we can't play Arab-Israeli. You know, I don't want to risk giving him those points. I'm guessing he did that for military ops more than anything. I suppose if we were to put the 2 from Arab-Israeli into Jordan, then it would prevent him from being able to be successful. And then we'd also take away his domination because we'd have 3 to his 3. Or maybe not. So I suppose in that case I think the better option is spacing, so we prevent him from spacing 2 cards, and we fail, of course.
We dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed.
So a number of options here, both of which are quite good. There's the ABM treaty option, and we know he's got rid of Muslim revolution, so we could go for Libya, but the problem there is if he plays Middle East, then it still gives him the game. But I think that's pretty imperative at this stage. You know, we could play nuclear subs to try and flip South America, but you know, I'm quite worried about what he's headlined here. You know, because if it's OPEC, then that's it. We're out of here. But I quite like ABM treaty. Just sort of push the agenda in. Oh no, so I think that's it. I think that's the game. Unless we play arms race for the event, but I think We Will Bury You comes first. So we get a huge roll, which is good. And we do take the coup away from him. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that We Will Bury You happens before the actual event, which is a shame. So he flips Nigeria. I'm hoping and praying that we get to play this. No, it comes first. Ah, shit. So that's the game. I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. Yeah, what can I say? It's just a bit of an op disadvantage in the early war, which allowed him to storm ahead, basically, and also D-Style. You know, D-Style gave him that crucial access into South America, which you know, I think sort of swung it in his favour. You know, because we managed to balance Asia, which helps us out a lot, and a little bit unfortunate in sort of our favour that we didn't see Europe or Africa. But yeah, that's the game. Thank you very much for watching. You know, I'm going to put this game up on YouTube, which I think Chase is also going to do. Excuse me, I'm just typing. So we might even record the next game, but I'm not promising anything. It depends on what Chase wants to do. But yeah, very well played on his part. Kept us on our toes the whole way through. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Sorry it was quite quick. I got my arse handed to me there, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.